So this is stratospheric aerosol injection, or as it's commonly known, chemtrails. For any of my new subscribers from the rally this morning, I'll start at the beginning. So the United Nations, in their infinite wisdom, decided that global warming was too much of a threat and we had to reflect the sun. So what they did is they started spraying from aeroplanes aluminium oxide, strontium oxide, lithium oxide, barium oxide to reflect our sun. I'll leave a link for my newcomers to Harvard University's geoengineering page, where they openly talk about their 2019 solar radiation management. That's their program, solar radiation management. And it says in there right at the start, we will be actively dimming the sun in 2019. Just let that sink in, actively dimming the sun. The sun that gives us our vitamin D to heal us, the sun that we need to grow our crops to eat, our sun. They're going to dim it. It's not just Harvard, Oxford, Stanford. All these universities in America are private corporations and they're bought off. So they've started spraying this stuff up here, this thin wispy stuff. Basically what they do is they spray offshore so the people don't see the plumes just coming out of the aeroplanes, and then they just let the onshore breeze bring it over us. You'll notice it's always over the sun in the afternoon and over the sun in the morning. That is the time when most people are out getting their vitamin D. On a 40-degree day, people aren't out there at 12 o'clock. You go out in the morning and the afternoon. This is when they're dimming our sun. This is what it looks like. A white streaky mass that comes across the sky. This is geoengineering, stratospheric aerosol injection, and we do not consent. This is one of the big things we have to change. They're spraying us like bugs and they're putting all sorts of stuff in here. It's not just metals. I won't go into too much more detail, you can sort of find it on your own, but they're putting other stuff in here. Okay, and if you don't believe that they're putting barium, strontium, lithium and aluminium into our atmosphere, I'll leave a link to my heavy metal toxicity test for anyone who hasn't seen it. And that clearly shows almost unmeasurable amounts of barium in my system, and it's in yours too. I live in the suburbs with you guys, you know what I mean? I was going to say I drink the same water, but I don't anymore. Get off the fucking tap water for shit's sake if you're still on it. I've dropped the standard in WA for our drinking water twice in the last 10 years because they couldn't meet the standard. Why? Because they started putting our recycled shit water back into the underground aquifers, and it didn't go as well as they'd hoped. Originally they said they were going to dig it up 60 years later, and then 6 years later I got a thing in the mail saying that they were going to dig it up in 2 years, so they've left it in there for 8 years. All the lines going in and out of the water corp have algae in them, so they have to put more and more chlorine in there to combat it. Our copper pipes are old, we're getting copper sulfate. Have a look at the copper reading on my toxicity test. Overwhelming, it said on it, overwhelming levels of copper. Now I'm going to detox this shit out of my body and keep getting tested every 6 months, and I'll show you guys how to do it too. But this is it, this is what we're facing, people. Stratospheric aerosol injection.